lonesome halls and empty walls are all that's there. So for now, your memory will have to do. Each day and night I walk the floor and think of you. Walk the floor and think about the home we shared. The lonesome halls and empty walls are all that's there. So for now, your memory will have to do. Each day and night I walk the floor and think of you. Every day I walk the floor and think of you. And every night I pray the Lord will see me through. Every time I think I find a love that's true, I fall right back to walk the floor and think of you. Once there was a time when I had everything, and once around my finger was a wedding ring. But like a fool I threw away the love we knew, and now alone I walk the floor and think of you. Walk the floor and think about the home we shared. The lonesome halls and empty walls are all that's there. So for now, your memory will have to do. Each day and night I walk the floor and think of you. Walk the floor and think about the home we shared. The lonesome halls and empty walls are all that's there. So for now, your memory will have to do. Each day and night I walk the floor and think of you. Every day I walk the floor and think of you. And every night I pray the Lord will see me through. Every time I think I find a love that's true, I fall right back to walk the floor and think of you.
All right, how we doing? Good morning, everybody. Turn that off. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. President Trump's been busy this morning. Fox and Friends. And now, I believe he's on.
Personal when you're there, but it's hard not to with a guy like that. You know, he really loves his guys, and they're really loyal to him. couple other things I want to ask Mike. Although I got to be honest with you, Fox kind of stole my thunder a little bit this morning. They asked a question I already have, but I'm going to ask it again in a different way. Is the personnel issue? Personnel or policy.
Looks like Dan's
And I think
waiting
we
for
can
the
all
president to
agree,
arrive.
In the first term, a lot of people came to him. He was not a politician, and they recommended hires, and some of these people screwed him over. But he gave a great answer, and I want to kind of dig in a little deeper. He gave a great answer, and I really appreciate it. It was candid and it was honest. He said, "Hey, listen."
All right, so we'll monitor we'll monitor Dan. President Trump, I believe, is on his way to sit down with Bongino right now. How's everybody doing? Good morning, good morning. Damon, my husband was literally dancing in his recliner listening to the music you played. I do. I like that song. That's going to be that's my new morning song. That's the only song I'm going to play. I don't know. No matter how much I listen to it, it just keeps playing over and over. I don't know. I don't get sick of it. I guess because it's that old country western, like real country. Not the crap that we get today, mostly. Good morning, Damon. We were here by ourselves last night. What does that mean? I don't know. Big D, you were wrong about Gaffigan last night. He was hysterical. Well, listen, it's all subjective. I'm glad you thought he was hysterical. I thought he was like a D-. I think I said that at the wrap of the show. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought his Gaffigan, I thought his jokes about the mayor hit really good. I laughed out loud at the jokes about the who wants to buy who would want to buy an election when you can get it for 2 airlines. Whatever he said, he had one that really I laughed out loud at. But I was honestly, other than the ones about I didn't think he was that great. I thought he took a low blow at the first lady with the joke about the cat, saying this is the second time a cat. That's the old referencing the old Billy Bush tape there. So I thought that was a low blow in front of the first lady. I mean, what does she need to listen to that for? I mean, she's as gracious as you can be. She's there to support her husband. She doesn't need this creep taking shots at her like that. I don't even think they were together when that happened, by the way. So now I thought that was a low blow. Even the less harmful joke that he made to her about, I don't know, God teaches us to forgive, whatever. Well, you must be the first one to have actually tested out I don't know, it was some lame joke. It's just not necessary. Stick with Trump. He can take it. Stick with other people in the room. They should, that's what they're there for. Just lay off the first lady. She's never said anything about you. So now I mean, he had one or two that hit for me, and I thought the rest of it was pretty lame. As I said going in, Trump would be the best comedian of the night. He was by far, wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. His joke on Schumer, I don't know who wrote that for him, or if they actually went over like the whole setup and delivery of it. But he delivered that as if he does stand up for a living, as if he was Sebastian Maniscalco. I mean, that is absolutely the line of the night. He was hysterical. Chuck Schumer's here. He's looking glum, puts his hand on him. I mean, the setup of it was just perfect. But don't worry, Chuck, with how woke your party's gone, if Kamala loses, you'll still have the chance to become the first woman president. I mean, that is absolute comedy gold. And his delivery was absolutely perfect. His delivery on most of what he said was perfect. No, I thought Trump was great. When I watched it in real time as it was happening, I thought there was a couple times because Kamala wasn't there. He had to go into other places with other people, and I thought some of it, he looked like he was a little uncomfortable with because he wasn't sure exactly how to deliver it, like the joke about Kamala Harris and her husband, keep them away from the nannies. Like, I think if you're going to do that joke, you just do it and let it sit. You know, he did it and then immediately said, that's a nasty one. Like, I didn't really want to say, you know, so it's like you got to make that decision. If you're a comedian, you got to just kind of say it and let it live, or don't say it. But to say it and then go, oh, that was a nasty one, it makes it look like you're a little uncomfortable. But honestly, I thought the president was great. And actually, I'm surprised how many people in media this morning are actually agreeing with that. And even some that you wouldn't expect thought the president was really good. Because I wasn't sure if people were going to think that it hit the mark, or because when you watch, you know what's funny about that? The different angles, depending on what camera you actually were watching. Like, our camera was kind of up to his right side, shooting down, so you could only see him and the cardinal and the first lady. The straight on shot that somebody had, when you can see Schumer, Bloomberg, whoever the girl sitting next to Bloomberg was, the whole back row, you watch it again and don't watch Trump, and you get a whole different perspective of what was going on in the room. It's actually pretty funny. Some of them look like they want to fake their own death to get out of there. But this is why you love Trump. He doesn't care. He'll go into any room and to anybody, and he just lets it fly. And that's what he did. And I think 90% of it worked and hit. I thought he was great. He had quite the day yesterday. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Hello. Welcome on in. We didn't do my normal rundown of everybody. I know I just launched in, but I see all your comments here. But I mean, he went to the Brooklyn barbershop yesterday with Lawrence, what's his name from Fox? Obviously, the Bloomberg piece looks like maybe the president has arrived with Dan Bongino from doing his Fox and Friends this morning. On Fox and Friends, I didn't see the whole thing, but president seemed to be happy with the Al Smith dinner. He said he thought it was great. Good morning, Nora and Wamister. I hope you and Billy are well. Nice to have you here. Love you guys. You know that. Yeah, I thought the president was great last night. Damon, no YouTube last night. Oh, that's what people are meaning. That no YouTube last night. You know what happened last night? It was really last night was really funky. You know why I think that is because right at the last minute, Real America's Voice decided that Grant Stinchfield wasn't going to just end his show normally, and we were going to start our show normally, which is when the stream usually starts. I actually joined Stinchfield for like 3 minutes. They blew the last commercial break, and we did like a direct handoff, him to me. I spoke to him for about 3 minutes, and then I took it over. And I'll bet that's why I think that's why the streams on the socials we never had a starting point. And I think that's what happened last night. Okay, that's what people talk. I was wondering like why people. I kept seeing things like Damon left us alone last night. And I was thinking, I didn't really know what everybody was saying, but okay, that's what I got you. Yeah. So that we had no socials last night. Okay, there you go. You know what's funny? We were talking in the studio as if we were live during the social breaks. I guess we weren't. I never even thought about that. I was busy with the Al Smith dinner trying to coordinate who we were taking, who was talking, what was going on behind the scenes. So, yeah, that's probably what it was. Well, Dave, you can use them this morning. Yeah, no stream. Got it. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be funky between now and no, we didn't get blocked. No, it's going to be funky between now and election day because we're just the timing and the shows and how much show we get to do and what we're doing and who's doing what and if we're starting at 8 or we're not starting at 8. It's a little crazy. So we'll do the best we can to get it started every night. But that's what happened. Yeah. Thank you very much, Denise on Facebook. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Well, I was going to go through some of Trump's last night. Thank you, Huey. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You need a personal assistant. I need more than that. Yeah, I don't think people realize. Yep. We do a lot of this ourselves. Oh, I should say it myself. All right, we'll continue to monitor Dan Bongino here. The president should be arriving to sit down with him. Yes, there you go. Tucker is my, God, it's going so fast. Tucker's Damon's personal assistant. Yes, I don't know where he's not on his MyPillow bed here. He usually comes down when there's no one else home but me and comes in the studio, but he's not here right now. Yesterday, it was easy to get him up here because I forget what was going on outside. They're doing work around this area, so any loud noises that seem close. Oh, this is a prophetic. You need Paul Nolan. You know what's funny is I just talked to Paul Nolan this morning, as I do most mornings, and I just said to him, you need to come on. And it's so funny. I'm gonna send him a snapshot of this link right now. And let's see if we can get him to call in. Yeah, I told him he's got to join us in the mornings since he can't join us at nights right now. I said you could join me in the morning. I'm live every morning, so we'll get him here. Yes, free Paul Nolan, free Paul Nolan. If I let him out of the back of the trunk, he could join us, but I'm not really sure. Damon, if you get MyPillow products, do you get a free T-shirt? Yes, of course. We've been doing this for years now. I say the same thing every night. You use our code at MyPillow. If you shop there and then you use code LFS6B at checkout, you'll get a receipt from MyPillow. It's called the MyPillow confirmation receipt or email. You get it in your email, and it'll show the code that you used. And if you just forward that receipt to us at lfs6b@yahoo.com, we'll see that you use the code, obviously, and then you just tell us what you want from our store, and then we will send it to you. And actually, I think we had some new things drop yesterday. I think somebody already requested one, the gold and black. We had a couple good-looking shirts drop yesterday. All right, we'll go back to Dan here in a second. But yeah, we had I think we had these two shirts drop yesterday. So you got that one. So you could request that one if you have a MyPillow receipt. And we had the gold and black one drop. I think that somebody already requested this morning, which is that one. That's a good looking shirt right there. Come on, that's a good looking shirt. So you can request that one. So yeah, you can request anything at the website once you send in that receipt. Are you going to make a Hear Me Now shirt? Hear Me Now shirt. Oh, for President Trump, Hear Me Now, Believe Me Later. I don't know. I could ask the designer to try to come up with something. Who said no? Who said that? You never know. Oh, whoa. What's that? What's that date? Wonder if I should give this. Paul Nolan checking in. He said, that's an honor. So whoever had that comment, it was Gareth Todd. You need Paul Nolan. I just sent that to Mr. Nolan. He replied, that's an honor. So there you go. I guess it didn't motivate him to call in. It didn't motivate him to call in, but why don't you come say hello? Just click the link on your phone I sent you. See if we can bait him into coming on. Let's send him that picture too. Let's see if we can bait this guy into actually whatever he's doing. Coming on the show. Let's see if we can do it. Think we could be successful at this if we hound him enough? Let's send him another one. Think this is going to work? All right, we'll see if that works. All right, looks like Dan is still waiting for the president. Thank you, Dave, and your wife. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, Paul's got a lot to say. I talk to him all the time. I mean, people think I put him in the trunk, but obviously I did not. But God, I talked to him the other day, and he immediately launched in with, I don't know. I think him and Delgado are long lost brothers from I don't know. They're just both nuts. He launches right in with the weather. Have you been talking about all of this launching in on magnetic? I mean, I said, can we talk about like the Yankees first before we launch into all this make my hair hurt stuff? No. He had to get right to that. So I don't know. Him and Delgado are just. How did I find these two? That's what I want to know. How is it of all the people I could find straight news guys. I could find. I end up finding Delgado, Nolan, and Slick. Like what? What kind of ad did we run? Exactly. Exactly. 5-a-lot slots. Is that like slots like casino slots? I want to know what these names mean. I said this yesterday. 5-a-lot slots. What does that mean? I want to know what that means. How about Trump last night? I thought they were crazy for saying men could get their periods. And then I met Tim Walsh. It just was, he is so funny. You know what makes him the funniest is when he did things like, what did he do? He said like, oh, there's a group out there of white men for Harris. And then he said, anybody here white men for Harris? And then he immediately follows that up with, I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like it. He is funny. We're monitoring Bongino. The president's obviously going to be there. We'll we'll listen in. Oh, maybe looks like maybe we're getting close. Maybe we're getting close. Oh, looks like maybe the president has arrived. There he is. There he is. Look at this, a little behind the scenes action. Let's listen in.
Working out this morning. Thank you, Mr. President, for doing this. We appreciate it. Saying hello to the crew.
My guy, nice to see you. Nice to see you. So
You
we're
know-
doing pretty well. I mean, the states are looking pretty good.
Listen, I have never been more excited about a race than this one, but I'm telling everyone to vote early. Bank that vote,
Well, vote early or vote.
or vote, but if you
no.
can, bank it.
It's such corrupt
It's so
stuff.
good to see you. Let me stand up. You are
That's good. Thank you, man.
president and soon to be, hopefully, next president. How you
we
been? You
hope-
feeling all
We
right?
hope so.
You've been busy.
I've been busy. I really have. We've been doing a lot. Your show's going great, huh?
How many people we got watching right now? Oh yeah, move your mic a little closer, Mr. President,
Oh.
just to be. How many people we got watching? 290,000
Good.
people, and the show just started. So we'll
That's
be the
good. Oh, it
biggest
just
live stream
started,
in the
huh?
world.
Ooh.
Yeah, we just.
You're going
started.
to have a lot more than that when this goes off. You
Yeah.
watch.
We beat the NFL last night in live stream. You know that?
Is that right?
Yeah, we did.
No
Yeah, it's
kidding.
crazy. You know why? Because the MAGA crowd are the most loyal people
Yeah.
I've never seen. A
Your
political movement.
crowd is MAGA, right?
Oh my gosh.
Pretty much.
MAGA. They're like super extra MAGA. They're like, Elon had like the dark MAGA.
Right.
We're like the darkest MAGA.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. We're like in.
How about Elon? How about him?
Oh, we love you.
I saw that rocket come in, and he's campaigning now in Pennsylvania.
Don't you
I
love
mean,
it? It's good to have
he's-
successful people, right?
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
So
Let's go.
I got a couple of questions for you. I appreciate your time.
Okay,
First off.
yeah.
The Secret Service, obviously a sensitive topic with me. Spent 12 years there, protected Democrat and Republican presidents, something really close to my heart. I know you've told the story quite a bit. We all saw it. I spoke to you the next day. We had a conversation on the phone. It was amazing. Like you told the story almost like you weren't even there. You were so, I couldn't believe how you came within inches of dying on television. There's no easy way to put it. And you just, I never seen anything like it. You get up and your first instinct is to scream, fight. And then you had said, which I know the people who surround you, they're really good people. The Secret
are.
Service,
They are.
I've
Very
known them
good.
for a long time. But if we get you into office, Mr. President, we need you safe. Can we commit today to some kind of commission or reform the Secret Service? We can get some outside experts to make substantive reforms when you're in charge.
Wow. Big first
So
question.
the people I've met from Secret Service, and I know a lot of them, right? They're amazing. They're really good. They had a really bad day in Butler, and I don't know whose fault that was. You know, I guess you go top level, but that building should have been covered, obviously. But if you look at what happened when those bullets started going off, they were on top of me really quickly, and they were. It's a miracle they weren't hit. Actually, I think the guy was sort of stunned. Something happened to him. Something happened. The Secret Service shooter was amazing because he was very far away, and he spent one bullet. When you think, but everybody I've met from the Secret Service has been so good. But they had a bad day. There's no doubt about it. We're not allowed in this world to have a bad day, right?
No.
It's not in this one. This is too big. I think they did a good job the second time. Some people said you should have caught him the day before, or he should have never been there. But that was a great job that the other Secret Service, the second time. I mean, that guy was.
I don't think so. I'm
That guy
one of
was.
the people, I've done
No,
this.
I understand.
They
I
blew it.
understand it.
They shouldn't. That guy should have been nowhere near you.
Yeah, yeah. I understand it both ways. The individual guy did an amazing job. To see a barrel
Yeah.
coming out
Oh,
of a
that guy,
bush.
yeah.
No, but to see a barrel, as a Secret Service guy, to see a barrel coming out of a bush was something pretty amazing. But no, it's got to be safe. Got to be safe.
Yeah, we need to reform that. It's really important.
How was the report? The report came out
The
yesterday.
report's devastating, and it confirms a lot of things that I've said being an agent for over a decade of my life. Mr. President, they have this government attitude. This kind of segues nicely into another question I had. You're from the private sector.
Right.
Okay, I was given an example. I was chatting, waiting for you, my audience, to come down from your Fox interview and what you were doing. And I said, you're a builder in New York, one of the toughest places in the world to build. You know that. You're dealing with bureaucrats, unions with conflicting interests. How you got all this done, I don't even know, but you did. You tell a guy, I need 15 floors of concrete in 6 months, and he tells you, hey, we came up 10 floors short. You're going with the new concrete company. And by the way, you're dealing with a lot of interest, you know what I mean?
Right,
Especially in the concrete in New York. You've been there, right? That doesn't happen in New York. I mean, in the government, excuse me. You were president of the United States. You have these failed agencies that blew it. The Secret Service that did this whole, yesterday's technology tomorrow. We used to laugh with it. They didn't have a drone. So when you get into office, say with someone like an Elon Musk, are you planning on some systemic wide review of the FBI, Secret Service, these other entities, and saying, listen, we're not doing it this way anymore. We're going to produce results for the American people, or you're all getting a boot. We're out. This is it. We're done.
Well, Dan, as you know, you have to have the best people, and it's all about the people. And I know nothing about, very little about that, although I've learned a lot over the last few weeks. It's amazing. We had a rally in Butler, second rally. We had 107,000 people that turned out.
Amazing.
And it's become a great site. I don't know if it's like a memorial site where cars are riding up and down the road, honking their horn from all over the place. They're coming from all over the country.
Yeah,
it's become like, what is it in Nevada where they have the site with the aliens, right?
Area 51.
It's like
Yeah.
Area 51, Area 51.
right.
I think it's the largest. Butler, you have to see Butler. The streets are just loaded with cars. They ride up and down the side and they honk.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, it's cute. It's beautiful, actually. But I know the Secret Service well. I didn't know the top person, but I know the people that work on my detail. They're very, very good. You know a lot of them.
Yeah, no,
and they're
personally.
great people. Something went wrong, and you can't let it go wrong. So I can't tell you. You'd be somebody good to look into that. You would be good. That was your business, right?
That was my
You
business
would
for
be
a long
good,
time.
but they got to get it right. It's dangerous. I'll tell you what. Being president is a dangerous profession. When you
yeah.
think, okay, I mean, forget about me. You look, it's 1/10 of 1% die as a race car driver, right? Okay, so you take 1%, now you take 1/10 of that. That's what die, and these guys are going around a track at 220 miles an hour. The bull riding to me looks like that's not something I want to do, right? And it's about the same 1/10. They get killed.
It's not like it hasn't happened. JFK,
No, it happens. Oh,
Reagan
yeah.
was shot.
No, but when you think about it, a lot of presidents have been shot and even assassinated relative to the number. So I always say this is a dangerous business. I never thought of that when I ran. You think everything's
Yeah.
peachy dory, but it's a nasty business. One thing I would like to do is the first shooter, which they say was a miracle. I mean, it's lucky I moved to the right, but if I didn't turn to the right. Over immigration. See, I got saved over illegal immigration, the chart. My all-time favorite chart.
Why?
But the first shooter,
Is this personal
had,
opinion that
3
much
apps.
different than what most of the public
and
thinks?
2 of
What are
them,
you talking
they
about?
say were foreign-based. And they haven't opened those apps. And I wonder why the FBI hasn't done that. The second shooter had six cell phones. Now, who has 6 cell phones? Have you ever heard of anyone? I have 2, but who has 6 cell phones? And you would think that they'd want those opened, and they haven't opened them. And they can open them, and I guarantee they opened them for January 6th. All those guys got their cells
Yeah.
opened. So why aren't they opening? So I do ask that question. Why isn't the FBI opening up those phones?
Yeah.
And they're foreign. It looks like they're foreign-based. So you never know, where these people are coming from. They may look innocent, like, they're nice country boys, but they may not be. So I'd like to see them open that up and fast, and
Yeah,
we'll get down to the bottom of it.
I suspect there's probably some foreign connections there, and candidly, I don't.
It looks
trust,
it, doesn't it? Though?
Yeah, I just don't trust the FBI,
Yeah,
Mr. President,
well,
given their
it's-
experience.
I
with
understand
you.
that.
It's not like we're basing this off some hypothetical. They've spied on your campaign. We have the names of the spies. I mean, I wrote 3 books on it. It's not. I cited left-wing sources in the books. Let me
Now,
ask you.
figure they actually spied on my campaign, and then they go after the people that went after the spies, right?
And
they
nobody-
spied on my campaign, and if you look, it was Biden and Obama, and their group of people, and the deep state. They wanted that forgotten as quickly as possible. The fake news media, they hate to cover it. And when you say they spied on my campaign, they go, well, no, they actually spied on my campaign. We have it all. So We'll see. It's,
Leslie Stahl said
I don't
no,
think
though,
any.
so, at 60 Minutes, so it
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
She's a very credible
Leslie
source, of
Stahl.
course.
And she never gave me an apology.
No,
and
no.
David Muir didn't give me. When I said crime is rampant, he
Right.
said no, crime has gone down.
Right.
And he said the
And you were
FBI
right.
told him. I said, well, the FBI, it's a fraudulent report because they didn't include the worst
You
cities.
saw the FBI correction? You
They
were right.
corrected, yeah.
They had to say, oh, yeah, there were 1,699 more. How do you miss a murder?
They go,
how the hell
let's-
the guy's dead.
That's right.
How do you miss a murder?
They go, let's include a few other cities like the
Right.
worst cities, right? No, it's very sad what's happening with the FBI.
You ever say to yourself, gosh, my batting average with these media idiots is like 1,000, like this Trump 1,000, media losers 0. I mean, that I got to tell you, of all the media moments you've had, the one that infuriates me the most, it's actually a segment on my show, is the Leslie Stahl sir moment. Sir, we can't verify. You're the media, you loser. What do you mean you can't? Your job was, all you had to do was go to the FBI and ask, is this
And
thing
she
real?
knew it. She knew it. Look, it's.
That's the
I
point.
think the
She
worst
knew it.
scandal I've ever seen in broadcast history
the
will
editing.
maybe not be as much of a scandal. If that were a Republican, it would have been over. When they changed Kamala's answer, they didn't edit. They took her entire, which showed she was crazy. They took it out, the entire paragraph, and it was a long, lots of. They say word salad. I don't like the term actually, but they say word salad. It was just words, like rambling words, horrible. So they take it out and they put another statement that she made 2 pages later. They insert it, and nobody would have known the difference, and they got caught.
Oh,
They got caught.
Yeah, you've nailed
And,
CBS.
and
a
I
few
think
times.
it's the worst scandal. It's one thing if they took even a sentence off, because they do that with me all the time, because I like to speak in long sentences, paragraphs, right? And if they take a sentence out, like in the middle, it really does screw it up. But think of this. They took the whole thing in, and they replaced it with a totally unrelated time and place, and they put it in. And that's the only one that we caught. And we want them to release the tapes now. So I think I'm going to sue them, actually.
Good. Go for it.
I think so. No, you know what? They can't defend it.
See, this is why you
And
love these long
if they
form
do,
interviews,
and even if
because
they
you'll
win,
get
it's
him
gonna
on
be very
subjects, and then all of a sudden you get little
In
bits and
60
pieces
minutes,
of
so I've
information
done it many
that
times. I did it with Mike
you wouldn't
Wallace. The
get.
best one I ever had was Mike Wallace, and he was the biggest killer. And, Chris tries to be Mike, but you still have to have it.
Yeah, he's not cutting it.
He doesn't.
he's
he
not
doesn't have
cutting it.
But it's a very embarrassing moment for them. But the media is not pressing it. You would think the media would be pressing it. And I go a step further. It's so bad they should lose their license, and they should take 60 Minutes off the air. This is like the $64,000 question many years ago. Have you ever read the books on television? Yeah. They caught somebody. They gave somebody the answers, right? And he was a very famous. They ended up giving him the answers, and the whole thing. It was the biggest scandal maybe in television. But this is potentially, because think of what they did. It's election.
Don't forget about Hillary
interference.
Clinton getting the
They
answers
gave her
or the questions.
an answer.
Right.
That wasn't
It
too
was
long
worse
ago.
than that. They took the answer out and put a new answer in.
Mr. President, I think you should call them 61 minutes from now on, because they added an extra minute for Kamala. So I think it's a mistake to call them 60 minutes. You're giving them too much credit. So in public speeches, just refer to them 61. They add an extra minute for Kamala.
But how
Harris.
about David Muir? Everything I said, you
Crime
know,
is down, right?
no, everything I said,
Yeah.
he questioned. There wasn't a thing. Every single thing I said, he questioned. And he was wrong, I think, on every one of them, I'm pretty sure. But he never questioned her. And she talked about Charlottesville. She talked all things that have been, as they say, debunked. Another term I don't like, but it's a pretty accurate term. All totally debunked. Bloodbath. They used a bloodbath. They was
car
talking about the
industry.
car industry, right? Not talking about a bloodbath. He used the word bloodbath.
Right.
These people are sick. You got to say though, they are good at what they do. You have to admire it.
Yeah, listen,
They
if
are
you're,
good.
I mean,
they are sick.
You and I are New York kids, I'm just a slight tad bit younger, but you remember 1980s Times Square, pre-Giuliani.
Yeah.
Remember the Folexes, the fake Rolexes,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
all the peep shows and stuff. I mean, some of the scammers were good. Remember the shell game guys?
That's
They
right.
were good. Like,
They
so
were
that's
right.
them. Like, if you're going to be good at a scammer, you might as well be good at it. That's what 60
The press
Minutes
is a big scam.
Oh,
it's
they're
it's
amazing.
terrible. I don't know that a country can come back if it has a fake press.
It's hard.
Because they're like the policemen. They keep people honest, right? But Democrats don't have to be honest. They really don't have to be honest because they will never be accused of anything. It's interesting. I was so amazed that Harvey Weinstein got schlonged. He got hit as hard as you can get hit because he was sort of the king of the woke, right? And yet he got hit. And I figured that maybe he wouldn't get hit so hard. But boy, did he get. You don't know him well. I don't know him well. But I watched that, and it was amazing. So when they do get hit, they get hit. But that's the only one I can think of. Normally, they protect everybody. What they did with Adams, I think, is very suspect.
I heard you bring that up last night. at the
Well, I
House
brought it
meeting.
up because he was on the dais, and
Yeah.
I think other people were bringing it up too.
You think it's coincidental that he comes out with the immigration problem in New York City as the mayor here,
No.
and then all of a sudden the DOJ...
I predicted it. So he came out pretty strongly against the migrants taking over the city, which, as a mayor, he should, right? And not getting paid. You know, they've spent $3 billion on migrants, and the federal government's not there to pay it back. But he went against the party. I said, he will be indicted within 6 months. I know these people. Like deranged Jack Smith. This is a deranged individual.
Do you see he's going to release another manifesto? I mean, is this this guy is absolutely scum.
Before the election.
I've never seen anything like it. This is like tyranny.
And the judge is allowing
hammer sickle stuff.
And the judge is allowing him to do it, and it's not even believable. This guy is a sick puppy, and they're going to release something else, and always before the election. You know, they want to do it before the election. It's election interference. No, it's a terrible thing. What's happening, and the judges. This judge is the most evil person.
I never see anything like it.
She was.
Chutkin.
They all said, "Well, make sure you don't get Chutkin." And who did I
You
get?
lucked
I got
out,
Chutkin.
man.
I got Chutkin. It's
She's
all
a
right.
real
It's
prize.
all right. Because it has to get approved by lots of different people. But they said, make sure you don't get Chutkin. Well, I have nothing to do with it. So they supposedly pick balls, right? It's not. I don't think it works that way, but that's what they say. That's the way it's supposed to be. You pick out of a hat, and that's a judge. But
Yeah,
they
there was
said,
probably one name.
well,
in
you
that.
don't want Chutkin, that's for sure, and you got Chutkin.
Every ballot in the hat had Chutkin on it.
Well,
That's
think of it.
happened.
What judge would do that? Forget about deranged Jack Smith.
Right.
A judge is supposed to keep
Right.
it in check. What judge would say, we're going to release something, a couple of days before
By the way,
election?
which you have almost no ability to respond to. He could be making this up. Everyone in our system is innocent till proven guilty, not guilty till proven innocent. It's
Yeah.
disgraceful.
It's an amazing thing. Well,
You know what? The real. I got so much I want to. Can I ask you a different
no, it's
question?
because it's hard to believe, right?
It is. It's hard to
It's
believe.
hard
Like
to
even the CNN legal analyst, what's his name? That Honig guy
Yeah.
was like, "This is really unprecedented." That's CNN. They don't even like it.
Did he say that about this one?
He said it about 3 weeks ago
Oh,
when
he-
Jack Smith released the first. You look it up. I'm pretty sure it was Honig, but it was definitely on CNN. And he was, I
Yeah.
think, a federal
It is
prosecutor.
Ellie Honig.
And he said,
He's pretty good,
I've never seen
actually,
anything
for
like
being on
this,
CNN.
where the prosecutor gets to release an uncontested memo with unproven charges, not in a courtroom, but basically a campaign document.
Right.
It was the most obscene thing. Again, CNN, which, let's be honest, they hate your guts. And they're putting that on the, that's how bad this guy is.
The legal analyst for CNN, he's the top guy, has been against all of this. He said Trump did nothing wrong. I'm so amazed. I'm more impressed with that than anything else I've seen on CNN. But, because you'd think they'd try and stop him.
Yeah.
He is one of the biggest guarders of the Constitution. I mean, he really is. He's a great lawyer. He said, this is really unfair. But think of it, right before the election. Now, I don't even know what it says. This is made up by other people. It has nothing to do with me. And you don't even get a right to answer. It is, see, that's election interference right there. That's cheating
How
on an
many
election.
stories have they told about you that are so? Remember you beat up the Secret Service driver? We
Yeah.
used to laugh about that in my show because I know the people.
So
who are
that's now
involved
been proven to be
that you
false.
tackled. You
But
like
listen-
you gave him a triangle
Yeah.
choke from the back of the car. You're a pretty talented guy. You
Well, a
must
lot
have
of
learned
people
that
said,
in
don't
US Legion."
dispute that, sir. It makes you look very tough and strong. No, they
You
say
took out a couple
they say I
Secret
went to the man on the right who's a
That's good.
weightlifter and like 30 years old, and then the man on the right who's supposed to be a great
Took 'em all
karate
out.
expert.
Right.
I decided to go for him, and I
That's it.
got him around the neck.
Use your skills, right?
And
your
this
Muay
was
Thai
a
skills.
woman who, I think the testimony is all now gone. So what happened, to me, here's one of the greatest scandals. The Unselect Committee of Political Hacks, Cheney, all these people.
Yeah.
Cheney is, they say, we have a Republican. The Republican is Cheney, and then they have kissing, crying.
Yeah, he's always crying.
I've never seen him when
What's
he's
with the
not
crying
crying.
all the time with that guy?
They call him crying Adam kissing. He cries every time. You know, he's so desperate. He's a sick
Sad,
puppy.
right?
Those are the two Republicans. Okay, so they say the bipartisan committee. Like
Right,
They
right.
were much worse than any Democrat. The Democrats were nothing. So anyway, so the head of it,
So
Benny
true.
Thompson,
Yeah, he's
a real
gem.
beauty.
He so gets
He
it all.
decided to destroy all evidence of this year and a half trial. Everything is gone. The reason is because I was so innocent. And like as an example, this one case that I won't mention names, the person that did that said that it's been totally unconfirmed, right?
Morning,
It's
Ronnie.
been unconfirmed. The Secret Service agent said never happened. Never happened. I tell you, first of all, you wouldn't be able to do it. And
I
second-
worked with him in New York, Bob,
Yeah, Bobby.
and
He's great.
he knows that didn't happen.
Bobby's a tough cookie. Bobby's not going to let
He's a
somebody
Marine.
grab him. Yeah, you're not grabbing Bobby
But
around.
you're right.
the-
That may be a great. Like you took them all out.
No, no.
with
I
your
have a
judo
friend
and
that say,
stuff.
"Why are you fighting that?
Yeah.
Let it be. It doesn't make any difference. Let it be. You beat that crap out of him. It's the coolest thing I've ever heard, right?" But I said, "Let's tell the truth. It never happened." I actually said, "I'd love to go down. Remember, peacefully and patriotically." Do you know they don't mention that in any paper?
No, never.
The biggest, most important part, peacefully and patriotically. They don't mention that in any paper, in any document, in anything. It's crazy. So anyway, it was all disproven. Did you know they've destroyed all evidence, right? Now you're supposed to go to jail if you destroy evidence. Even in a civil case, you go to jail. They announced, we have decided to destroy all evidence having to do with the Unselect Committee. I love the name Unselect because it's called the Select Committee. I call it the Unselect
Do
Committee.
you find it weird that the January 6th Unselect Committee, which I agree is unselect about him, do you find it weird they're not interested about why Kamala Harris was not at the Capitol on January 6th, but was at the DNC when a
Yeah.
pipe bomb was outside?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Why doesn't Kamala Harris? They keep saying it's an insurrection. Why doesn't she tell that story?
It's a rigged deal. The whole thing is rigged. 100% rigged.
If you get elected, and we hope that happens, can you get an answer as to why she was there?
I do believe. Look, this is really corrupt stuff.
This is what
the
they
other thing
fear.
is, as you know,
All this shit
they
comes
really
out.
won in the Supreme Court. Okay, the Fisher case and the various cases. Why are they still being held? Nobody's ever been treated like this. Nobody's ever. Maybe the Japanese during Second World War, frankly, but they were held too. But when you look at Portland and the damage they did and killed people, because other than Ashley, nobody was killed here. Nobody was killed. And there were no guns involved. And these are all gun owners. These are people that have guns, but they never went to the Capitol with guns. It's really amazing. It's a very sad. I think it's a very sad day in the country's life. But here's the
Good morning, Gene.
end of this. They destroyed and deleted all evidence. So now we're not going to know what she said about how I beat the crap out of these two Secret Service agents.
Right.
I was so strong. My arm just ripped around those big necks, 24-inch necks. I ripped my arm around them, and they didn't have a chance. No, Dan, can you imagine that?
No, I knew.
But
the
how do
story
they
the
how
next
do they
day was
delete it
nonsense.
and destroy it? You're not allowed to do
The
that.
Secret Service deleted the text from that day too, and they said it was a tech transfer. It was not. It's a lie. So if you get elected, I'm really hoping we can get to the bottom. We should talk about that. Can I ask you something else about kind of switching gears a minute? The media paints you in this ridiculous. You've seen the caricatures; they're insane. When I was going through cancer treatment at Sloan Kettering, I was going in for surgery, and I had a bad incident. And you called me that day from the White House, and I got to tell you, I was really touched by the whole thing. You are extremely loyal to your friends. And I say to people, you know why? Because he's a Queens guy. And tell me if I'm right. Here's my theory, Donald Trump theory on Queens, why you got the bravado and the machismo, and why the guys really like you and the Bro podcast. Queens guys, we never had the money of the Manhattan kids. So you don't have like the class like of the Manhattan. You're not in like the upper crust of this fake caste system we have in New York. You know it exists.
Yeah.
But we're never given the tough guy credit the Brooklyn and the Bronx kids are. Nobody wants to fight them just because they say they're from Brooklyn. So when we're from Queens, we always got to say it and do it. We just can't show up and, this guy's got money. He's from Central Park West, or he's from Brooklyn. He's tough. Hey, tell me I'm not right about Queens. Is that the Donald Trump phenomenon?
Well, it's a great place to learn. A lot of very successful people came out of Queens. Queens is It's a place of successful people, as you know. But so is Brooklyn, and maybe the Bronx too, a little bit
Paula's
different.
from the Bronx.
Huh?
Paula, yeah,
Oh,
lovely
wow.
Paula. She looks good, doesn't she?
It's good, beyond good. It's really,
It's crazy
great.
being married to a
I
25-year-old.
know,
It's just
and
so
doing
weird.
well, and
Yeah.
and she has a lot to do with your success.
Oh my gosh.
I have seen over the years people married and having a great relationship, and they're successful. Then it doesn't work out. They go to somebody else and they lose everything. You know, the man behind the woman and the woman behind the man is both. It works out both ways. But I've seen many cases where somebody's successful, but with somebody else not successful at all. I see it with
Melania, your
athletes.
secret weapon?
Melania.
Melania, she's the
By the
secret
way, she
weapon?
just did #1 bestseller book. Did you see that?
Yeah.
#1. She's #1 on the list, New York Times list. Now, to be #1 for Trump, to be #1 on the New York Times list is not even believable, right? You know what? You have to go. She had to be #1 by thousands of books, okay? Because they're pretty tough on that. No, she's got the #1 bestseller, Melania.
Can I ask you a question about your business time in New York? Wallman Rink. For those of you who don't know at home, Wallman Rink is a ice skating rink. The city couldn't fix it for 500 years because it's the city of New York. It was a train wreck. They come to you. They say, Mr. Trump at the time weren't running for president or anything. Can you fix this mess? You got it done in record time. I don't even remember. You have the
Right.
rink.
Well, it was closed for 11 years. My kids were getting older. They kept saying, Ivanka, Daddy, can I go ice skating? I'm sorry, darling, the rink is under construction. After saying that for 11 years, for 11 years, it's been under construction for 11 years. My darling, you're the most beautiful little ice skater, but there goes your career because
Right.
you have to start young. And they were building. So they were building it for 11 years. And they had spent just, numbers that were unbelievable. They couldn't get it to work. They were building it wrong. They had the wrong pipe. They had the wrong system. They used a refrigeration company from Miami. Now, you don't go to Miami for a rink. You go to Canada.
right,
I went to the Montreal Canadiens. They came down. They were very nice. They came down. They said, this doesn't work. You have to use a brine system. Anyway, they were using a gas system. They had the wrong everything. And, they'd pour this big 50,000-foot site in little tiny patches.
Right.
So it was all uneven. You never saw a butcher job like this. So I took it over. So it was under construction for 11 years. I got it done in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And
I
it was
remember. It's a famous
perfect.
story in New York.
I had
People don't
cement
remember
trucks going, the Teamsters. I had cement trucks going from the rink back to Harlem, along the
Yeah.
park.
that. Oh, yeah.
And I had 40, 50 trucks standing there, all poured over a 2-day period at one time. They were doing little chunks, and then they wouldn't match, and then they tried to hook up pipes. The whole thing was the craziest thing. And the people from the Montreal Canadiens came down and they said, oh, and you remember, they kept stealing the copper pipe. You'd put pipe in the concrete.
Right.
But every night they'd put the pipe in, and the pipe would be gone the next day. The thieves, because copper is very expensive.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you don't want to use copper. You want to use hose. And it has to have water in it, warm water, and you have to put salt in the water. That way it doesn't. That's the whole thing. That was a big factor, So it's called brine. It's water and salt. So the salt doesn't let it freeze, right? And it was great. And we opened it, and I ran it for many years. And de Blasio came along. And by the way, I hit him hard last night. Did you see that? Were you watching last
No,
night?
I was traveling
Yes,
out.
you did.
So they had the Al Smith dinner last night, the big Catholic dinner in the Plaza. It was great. The Cardinal was everybody was
Kamala skipped out.
everybody was there but her.
I love your joke about Tampon Tim, by the way, that he didn't show up, but he's telling everyone he's there.
That's right.
Yeah, he's telling war
We
stories.
had a
about
lot
it
of
right now.
jokes. It's actually you're supposed to be a comedian at least for part of your speech. So
No, you were good.
it
I
was
liked that.
okay.
You were pretty funny.
It came out. It was a great evening.
Let me. I know you're short on
Was
time.
De Blasio the worst mayor in history?
I think Dinkins was really bad. I think Dinkins was. I mean, they called him
Yeah.
Stinkins. Dinkins was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I have been through Koch, Dinkins, Bean.
De Blasio's
mayors of
absolutely
New
the
York.
worst. Not
Who
even a
was the best
question.
mayor?
Oh, Giuliani, by far. I worked as a cop under Giuliani. I mean, you went into Times Square under Giuliani. That's actually one of my questions. See, bad enough yet, New York City. You and I lived through the Giuliani era. You go up, you get off the train station in Times Square, you get hit with 7 hookers, 20 drug dealers, and 3-card Monty guys left and right? Giuliani gets elected. Mr. President, you know as well as I do. You walk through Times Square 6 months later, it's a totally different place. So when people tell me Donald Trump, who grew up in that New York and is committed to changing government, can't fix things, it's too bad. I say, BS. It was 1,000 times worse in New York, and Giuliani turned it around like that.
Well, it's getting bad. I will say it's getting bad. Bad things are happening, and the migrants are making it happen really bad because, we have 100,000 migrants. Nobody has any idea how many. And interesting, the mayor said, this is not sustainable. And I said, he'll be indicted. And he was indicted. They indicted him. This is a bad group. Same group that we just talked about. And it's, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with it. But having a young Rudy at this moment, a young Rudy, because he did a great job.
You saw it.
This city was a mess. This whole place was a mess. And within a couple of years, it became the safest big city in the world, right?
It was amazing. It was great for business review.
He's got to be given credit for it. He did a great job.
The question from my audience I put out a poll. I said, give me some questions for President Trump. I want to hear what you all have to say. Personnel. Your first term, you were new to politics, which was a benefit, but a little bit has a downside in that you don't know all the players. You're a business guy. So people recommended you hires. You had to get rid of a lot of people. A lot of them turned out to be turkeys. And they're concerned the second term that we may have that same problem. I've told them, I know your team. I know they get it now. Do you have, I'm not asking for any names. I wouldn't dare, but do you have a set of people now you can trust who, when we get in, because we're not going to have a lot of time. In 2 years, there could be a midterm issue. Right. We've got 2 years to clean this disaster up. You feel like you've got a roster, like a team
So
of
when
hitters?
I first got elected, Dan, I was only, you probably heard me say this story, but I was there 17 times in Washington, D.C. So I wasn't a Washington person. I knew really nobody there. And mostly because I was building a hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue, and a beautiful hotel that I sold to the Waldorf Astoria. I did.
Yeah, I love
it,
that hotel.
But I did a beautiful job. But it was mostly for that. So I was essentially never in Washington. So I didn't know people. So I had to rely on people, for big positions. I'm saying, hey, do you know anybody that can be like this job and that job? And generally, I got it very good. We had Lighthizer, Trade. We had a lot of good guys. But we also made some mistakes. Made mistakes at Attorney General, made mistakes. I made some mistakes. And I don't really blame myself.
Wow.
They were highly recommended by
You don't hear that
Rhinos,
much from him.
and they weren't the right people. They just weren't the right people. And there were some other positions too. Mostly I got it right. Nobody ever talks about the good. We had a lot of great people,
Right.
but we had some mistakes. And
But you fired him.
I fired him. And here's what happens. When I fire, because I'm famous or whatever, for whatever reason, when I fire them, immediately the book companies go to them and they say, oh, we'll give you a book if you say bad things about Trump. If Bush fired somebody, nobody cares, If somebody else fired. But immediately when I fire, they go to, and they write something, or they say, like Bolton was a stiff, he was a dumb guy, very stupid guy. But actually, he came in handy because he was a maniac. He always wanted to go to war with people.
Yeah, he wants to bomb everyone.
He wants to bomb. So he wouldn't talk because he was stupid. But what happened is I'd bring him into a room with Putin, and Putin would say, oh, shit, Trump wants to go to war. Because Bolton was with Bush, and they, think of it. They went into the Middle East, they bombed the hell out of the place, and they left. It's like they bombed. This guy he wanted to bomb anything. He's a nut job. But he was good for negotiating purposes, but then after a while, so you fire him. And whenever you fire people, generally, if they have an option, like with me, most people don't care. It's like they get fired, but there's nobody to write about the boss. But if the boss is famous, they can maybe get a book deal. So I believe in firing people. For instance, in Afghanistan, Biden should have fired every general and every person involved in that botched job, moving the soldiers out first. Everything they did was wrong. They should have all been fired.
How do you leave the military base first in Bagram?
First of all, they should have used Bagram, and then they dropped Bagram, and China has Bagram right now, and it's an hour.
I was in Bagram. It's amazing.
So it's...
they left it.
Yeah, they left it.
They didn't even tell the locals. Locals showed up when there was nobody there.
Yeah, my plan was I was getting out, but keeping Bagram because of China, because it's an hour away from where they make their nuclear weapons. So anyway, that's where it is. That's the saddest story in maybe the most embarrassing story in the history of our country, that whole Afghanistan. We were getting out, but we were going to get out with dignity and strength, and we were going to get out. It was going to be great. We had to get out. It was 20 years, 21 years. It was ridiculous. But we were going to keep Bagram because of China. We didn't keep it.
Can I ask you a hypothetical on that? Say, I mean, obviously we can't prove it counterfactual, but you're the president. Say the 2020 debacle doesn't happen, and you're sitting there in the Oval. I agree. We had to get out of there. Do you say to them, the Taliban, here's the deal, brothers. We are leaving, but I'm telling you right now, you touch a hair on the head of one of our people, we are going to rain hellfire.
But I did
down
say that. We didn't have any soldiers shot after I spoke with Abdul, the leader of the Taliban.
Yeah.
We didn't have any soldier. Not one soldier for 18 months was killed. And Biden actually admitted that at a speech a few years ago. He said, well, I have to say, no soldier's been killed. We were losing a lot of soldiers over there with Obama. And I said that if you do it, I don't want to say exactly what I said because it's not appropriate, but I said, you better not shoot our soldiers. We didn't have one soldier killed, Dan.
Yeah.
Think of it, in 18 months. And then this horrible thing happened. They should have left from Bagram, number one, not for that base. And we lost 13 soldiers.
Yeah.
Many really badly hurt, with the legs and the arms and the whole thing. We have Americans left behind. Yet some very good people left behind, too, that maybe should have come with us. They had that airlift, which was terrible, with people falling off the planes. It was so bad. And we left behind $80 billion worth of equipment.
Biden never recovered from that. Everybody saw what a loser he was.
Biden is a
after that.
grossly incompetent man, but here's the bad news. She's worse.
Oh,
she
she's
is
horrible.
more incompetent than Biden.
Yeah, no, she's horrible. Can I ask you a really...
Hey, Dan, I got to get going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're going crazy.
All right. Folks, I'm sorry. We got to wrap it up with the president. You got a little thing called the campaign coming up, and you got to go
do.
win. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for my audience. I'm really... Oh, can I ask you one small
Yes.
favor? We're going to do election night coverage, and I want to do, Franklin Graham, Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
So I want to auction off a Donald Trump signed Bongino baseball.
Good.
And give it to Franklin Graham. Would you be kind
I
enough to
would
sign
do
it
it.
on
I would
camera?
do it,
And that way
absolutely.
everybody knows it's real.
I
would
will do
so
it.
deeply... I'm sorry to put you on the spot,
That's
Mr.
all
President.
right.
I
Let's
just,
see.
I think we could raise a fortune
That's
for
a nice-
Franklin Graham.
nice
You like
baseball.
that? Someone made a
Gonna have
listener made
plenty
that
of
for us.
movement on it.
And we are going to auction this off, and everything Franklin Graham, Samaritan's Purse, coming your way. I know you like
He's doing a
Franklin a
great
lot.
job.
He's doing an amazing job. I just want to make sure everybody
I'll
knows
tell you,
it's
he's
real.
not doing a good job. Kamala,
Come on,
she's not doing a good
the
job.
worst. No, you're right. Biden was better. They were better off with him. There it is. We are going to raise a fortune for charity, 100% to
man.
charity. There you see it, folks. President Donald J. Trump. Justin, grab that Sharpie. We appreciate it so much. Mr. President, thanks a lot.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck in
Thank
the
you,
campaign.
Thank
God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Wow, this is amazing. We're going to do a...
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, this is...
That's like the old days.
I'll let Margo know how much money we raised for this.
All right, there you go. Pretty cool. Cool stuff. Bongino live with the president there. You got to see the whole thing. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Interesting stuff from the president there. Love those long, that's why you love these long form interviews when he does, when he sits down with someone like Bongino. Wish he had more time there. Some really interesting topics. I love the personnel question. And honestly, I love Trump's answer there. Didn't really get into, kind of the meat of it, where he could have kind of talked about, again, going back to that great article a week or so ago about 45 second term as opposed to 47, and why 47 will end up being a blessing in disguise. That what happened in 2020, we'll look back on. If he wins, he's got to win. We'll look back and say, man, if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here. So he's got to win, though. But good stuff. So, a couple other things before I let you go this morning. So we've been talking about this, and this is exactly why I've been saying what I've been saying. People ask me a lot about Polymarket. They put a lot of stock in Polymarket. I'm not so sure that's a great idea. Only because you just don't know how the order books work there. And so here's this story in the Wall Street Journal today. A mystery $30 million wave of pro-Trump bets has moved popular prediction market. 4 Polymarket accounts have systematically placed frequent wagers on Trump election victory. And I mean, I don't even need to go through the article, honestly, because the point being, this is what I was warning against. This is what I was warning against. You could get a couple accounts that place decent sized wagers and could be moving the percentage in a way that looks like, oh, wow. And really, it's not, ooh, wow. It's really just 1-2 guys artificially moving the market to make it look like something it's not. So I think this is why you have to be really careful of trying to buy into that these things mean anything. Because I'm not so sure that they do. I can't 100% say they don't. But I think you take it with a huge just grain of salt and don't treat it as reality of what's going on out there. Because these things, I think, can be really manipulated fairly easily. Again, if we had a line at Caesars in the sports book and they were taking money and I could see the ticket count, the money flow, where it's coming from, what the bet sizes are. Is it hundreds of thousands of $10, $20, $100 bets? Or is it one guy who bet $1 million? I mean, that all makes a huge difference in how much weight you put into this. So these prediction future markets that don't have anything to do with sports, like Polymarket, I think you need to be fairly suspect of what they really mean. So. Because you see a lot of, I don't know about your timeline, but literally I go on Twitter, the first thing I see is Polymarket charts. Look at this. Look at this. Another day he goes up. Let me put it this way. Don't stay home and not vote because Polymarket makes it look like this is a landslide, because that's not reality. That is not reality. A couple other very interesting things that we have been talking about on opposite sides of this argument. One, in The Blaze by Christopher Bedford, Kamala's coming betrayal, making the case that she's going to have to fully stab the knife in Biden's back, as she started to with Bret Baier. She needs to twist the knife, and she knows it. So interesting here. We saw a little bit of that with Bret Baier as she tried to really solidly make the point that she will not be a continuation with Joe Biden, and this whole idea of turning the page. And as they say here, turning but from where and to what? And basically saying that she's on a collision course with Biden. 2 weeks ago, her numbers, forced the campaign to ditch the bunker strategy, but even the Safe Ground campaign operatives chose to host their debutante debut failed to help. Social media clips of her gaffes reached far beyond original audiences and undermined Harris with the very voters she's been trying to reach. When her numbers continued to decline after the blitz, the campaign tried the next thing. Fox News, which CNN, MSNBC like to sneer at, but which earns far more politically independent viewers than they do. Harris has CNN on her side, but she needs those independents. Her staff members did everything they could to keep Bret Baier's interview under their control. They showed up late, and then they waved their arms like crazy people to cut it short. When it was over, Democrat partisans awarded their candidate a participation trophy, claiming she did well by showing up at all. Republicans cheered Harris' televised demolishing. Corporate media called it a Rorschach test, each side claiming it won. Exactly, that's what I talked about, which is ridiculous. And saying that, oh, she should have started doing these earlier. Ridiculous. She sucked at it that night. She would have sucked at it 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago. She's not good enough to sit down with a real journalist. So now the basic premise of the rest of this article is that she's going to have to make a clear and concise separation from Biden and really stab the knife and twist it on this past 3.5 years. And that needs to be her strategy moving forward. And then on the other side, I saw this over at the Federalist. Joe Biden is acting like he doesn't want Kamala to win, which is also right. And this is the collision course that could kind of overshadow everything else in the next 18 days. While President Biden's decision to end his campaign was presented as a peaceful transfer of power, it was anything but. Now, he seems to want to have a few last words, and boy, is he having them. First, he donned the MAGA hat at an event with firefighters for 9/11. Granted, it wasn't an endorsement, but rather Biden having fun. Still, though, if Trump were truly the existential threat Democrats portray him to be, would Biden have donned what is essentially the visor cap? Then Harris attempted to distance herself from the administration. Her campaign is centered on offering a new way forward, quote unquote. After all, Biden began boasting that she was a major player in everything we've done. Remember, he went on The View and said there was basically no separation between us? For good measure, he threw Harris under the bus again when he claimed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis had been doing a great job and hadn't been answering her calls regarding disaster relief. Biden said the governor of Florida has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday. I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all been done well, and we thank you for it. There's also the fact that Biden, who promised to campaign for Harris, has not. And, that's something that really has gone under the radar to most, including me. I haven't really even thought about that point. Biden hasn't done a single thing. I mean, a one-off comment here and there in some of these meetings we've seen over the hurricanes. He had that one get-together with FEMA or whatever on camera that she was a part of, and she kept jumping in to try to make herself relevant. But he's been really staying out of the public eye and, of course, taking lots of vacations. For all the talk of ending his campaign to ensure his legacy, he certainly doesn't seem to see President Harris as part of that legacy. And I'm telling you, a big part of that is the good doctor. The good doctor does not want anything to do with that. They don't want anything to do with that at all. So I just thought those two headlines were pretty funny. Joe Biden doesn't want to act like, and Kamala's coming betrayal. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. There wasn't really anything else. Trump went on Fox and Friends this morning.
We got a fun one.
But we'll fix it.
We got a 6-year-old from Massachusetts, and he wants to know about your favorite animal. Let's watch.
Mr. President, my name is Briar. I'm 6 years old. I live on a farm in Massachusetts. What's your favorite farm animal?
Favorite farm animal?
What's the animal?
Well, this guy from over the city.
I'll tell you what I love. I love cows. But if we go with Kamala, you won't have any cows anymore because you're not allowed. I don't want to ruin this kid's day. But I love cows. I think they're so cute and so beautiful and so. But according to Kamala, who's a radical left lunatic, you will not have any cows anymore. So we have to vote her out. If you like cows, you have to vote.
I know.
There you go.
We got a fun one.
But we'll fix it.
We got a 6-year.
Kevin Downey Jr., Trump killed it at the Al Smith dinner. Kamala was a no-show. Ouch. Come on, we got to listen to this one time. This was seriously the moment of the night.
Coming and very, very strong a certain way. I won't tell you what way that is, but Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become, If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president. Coming in very, very strong a certain way. I won't tell you what way that is.
Whoever wrote that, man, should get the award for last night. Whoever wrote that should get the award because that really is fantastic. Well, another podcaster. And boy, this guy is busy. Tyrus sat down with President Trump. And I do believe it is official that Trump is sitting down with Joe Rogan. I'm almost positive that that's happening. Oh, let's say what's Donnie Douche talking about this morning?
This isn't a Republican Party right now.
No.
And they know it.
he says nope, like, Mika, she's so intellectually brilliant. I have to agree with her. Nope. It's not a Republican Party right now. Nope. Oh, yes, you're right, Mika.
This isn't a Republican Party right now.
No.
And they know it. So there are
Who knows it? And they know it. Cry more.
those who were like, wow, this isn't the party I recognize. But what's the permissions?
Yes, really. The party that, The party that doesn't believe men can have periods? The party that doesn't believe men should be playing in women's sports and acting like they're women? What party don't you recognize, Mika?
Structure. Are you hearing it from any of your Republican friends in the business community that can be created for a vote for Kamala Harris at a time like this?
You know, as we all talk to a lot of
Come on, Donnie Douche. Tell us what you think. We're all on the edge of our seat.
people who vote for Trump, and I say to them, and I still can't sort of figure out, do they not believe?
Branding and marketing expert finds his home on MSNBC. There's a good way to brand and market yourself.
Believe it? Or
To who? Nobody?
do they not care? Do they not understand that our freedom is on the line? Do they not get that? Or do they just not care? Do they take freedom for granted at this point? And
Oh, yes, Donnie. We just take it for granted. Your party, the party of freedom. It's exactly what we think of when we think of the Democratic Party today. Oh, we all think of freedom. Of course, freedom. Yeah, oh, yes, exactly what we think of. Freedom, and we think of law and order, and we think of, family, and we think of, yes, we think of all of those things when we think of your party, Donnie Douche. Exactly right.
line. Do they not get that? Or do they just not care? Do they take freedom for granted at this point?
Oh.
And I challenge people, and I say, you do understand
Donnie challenges people. Well, everybody watch out. Donnie's challenging you.
that he will turn on this country, and he will turn us into Hungary.
Oh, yes, of course he will. Of course he will. Just like he did in the first 4 years. He will turn us into Hungary. And how exactly will he do that, genius?
Do you not understand the freedoms that started, as you brought it up? It started with Roe v. Wade. It will continue. It will continue by putting his enemies in jail.
Of course, putting his enemies in jail, of course, like your party's tried to do for 4 years to the guy. Of course, now we're concerned about that. Well, Donnie Douche is worried about putting his enemies in jail. He'll turn on the country. He'll turn us into Hungary. How exactly will he do any of that, idiot? Oh, he won't tell us, of course, because he just wants to go spew his nonsense with Mika on MSNBC. This is what passes for television in the morning over there.
Turn on this country, and
he'll turn on the country.
turn us into Hungary. Do you not understand the freedoms that started, as you brought it up?
Listen to her, the idiot in the background. He already has.
That he will turn on this country, and he will turn us into Hungary. Do you not understand the freedoms that started, as you brought it up? It started with Roe v. Wade. It will continue. It will continue by putting his enemies in jail. It will continue on having unfree media. Are there people around this table that are really worried? Rev, are you worried going forward that you're on a list if Donald Trump is elected? Yes or no?
Come on, Al, tell us, Rev. Tell us, are you on a list?
Convinced I'll be on the list.
I am too.
I don't know how.
The list of idiots. List of people with brain cells a lower than 10 and an IQ lower than 6. That's the only list you'll be on. You and everybody else on that set.
We're not going to be.
And think about that. This is America. This is the United States of America. And people in the media, like the Rev, have to be concerned that they may be on a list. I have people saying to me, Donnie, are you worried? This is America.
Donnie, are you worried, Donnie? Are you worried, Donnie? Oh, Donnie. Good old Donnie. This is what passes as television. Oh, we take you so seriously, Donnie. Donnie Douche, we take you so seriously. I mean, we haven't spent any time talking about this video. Upon further review, I think she would have been better off actually showing up to the dinner and getting up there and just totally bombing.
I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
Yeah, she would have absolutely been better showing up, getting up there, and falling flat on her face. That would have been better than that video. Because that video is the single most cringe thing that's ever been produced, and I don't even think it's close. I don't even think it's close. Look at this guy. What in the hell is he doing? What the hell kind of entrance was that? Find your ex, Joe. Let's play a game. Find the tile with your ex and then stand there. Okay, Joe, good job. Very good, Joe. You found your ex. Very nice. Okay, Pops, find your ex and stand there, okay? Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hey, here it is. I found it. Do I get a treat? Oh, my God. This is the guy in charge. Good gravy. Scott Jennings, man, I'll tell you, someone should either, this guy deserves some kind of, I don't know, compassion prize for dealing with these yentas every night.
In weeks, what do you think voters think about that?
Not much, really. I mean, I think Bill Clinton's been a terrible surrogate so far, honestly. I mean, the last 2 times we saw him in public, once he was making the case about how Kamala Harris has failed on immigration by invoking the Laken Riley situation and saying that the Biden-Harris administration not properly vetted the illegal immigrants who killed her.
Yeah, he also criticized Republicans for sinking the bipartisan border deal too.
Fine.
Yeah.
And then
the bipartisan border deal that was nothing more than an amnesty bill that the Democrats controlled the Senate, the House, and the presidency at the time and never brought up. Oh, yes, they were really into it.
We saw him at the funeral for Ethel Kennedy making bizarre, like quasi-sexual references about her. I mean, he's been a terrible surrogate. And Obama was a terrible surrogate. And Harris was terrible on Fox News the other night. This is a campaign that cannot find a way to land the plane, and she's skipping the Catholic dinner. At the same time, one of her top surrogates is out cutting bizarre videos mocking communion. And I'm talking about the governor of Michigan, Whitmer. And so they have problems with Catholics. There's polling showing that Trump is bouncing back to 2016 levels with Catholics. They got problems with their surrogates, and they got problem with a candidate who can't answer basic questions.
Yeah, but Trump. We gotta all shout Trump as loud as we can. If we can't shout Trump, we're basically mimes over here at CNN. Jesus, these people. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What else is, I guess that's about it. Megyn Kelly lights up disgusting liar Colin Allred. This is the guy running against, former football player running against Ted Cruz. Former football player who's supporting men in women's sports. I wonder if he would have been okay with it when he was playing for the Tennessee Titans. Would he have been okay having a woman? I mean, it's just so crazy.
Casey bucked Biden to protect fracking, and he sided with Trump to end NAFTA and put tariffs on China to stop them from cheating. Casey bucked Biden to protect fracking, and he sided with
Bob Casey put out an ad aligning himself with a couple of things that Trump did. As Tim Murtaugh says, Bob Casey must think Trump's going to win Pennsylvania. I've been thinking about the whole blue wall thing. And I mean, again, I don't, again, we take the polling for what it is. But, I mean, I think there's a good chance she could lose all 3. Never mind hold them. Her easiest path is to obviously hold the blue wall. I think there's a chance she could lose all 3 of them. I don't want to get ahead of myself again, but I still think there's a possibility that this whole election night is being built up to be this razor sharp, we're not going to know for days. And like there's a very minute, small part of my brain that wants to keep whispering to me, this thing could be over so fast on election day if he was to pull like a Virginia, or he wins all three, he wins Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. I don't know. Something just tells me this may not be the razor sharp, hold our breath all night event that we all think it's going to be. It most likely will be, and it'll come down to maybe Pennsylvania. But I don't know. She's still got 18 days to actually plummet into the Earth's core, which is the direction she's on.
I think there are a lot of folks, such as myself, who think that Donald Trump's unpopularity is baked in. But here's the deal. If you believe that Donald Trump has somehow become...
See, all of these, like this day in history things, to me, represent a truer picture of what's going on. Because it's actually real. It's like real data. Like you can look back. It was actually, that's what the numbers were. Like there's no disputing them. However we got to those numbers at that time, we could go back and talk about. But those were the numbers, whether they were half fraudulent, all real, all fraud, whatever it was, those were the numbers back then. And this is the number today. And again, you can say, well, the number today is still screwy. You could have said the same thing about the numbers then. Well, this is not really right. It's not, but those are the numbers on record. And they're not disputable. When you look at where Trump is right now, this day in history, on all the battleground states, net favorability today, these are the things that make me think he's running way ahead. And if our early voting is way ahead, like we're getting some reports, and we still get people way out on election day that Republicans always win, this may not be that much of a squeaker.
I think there are a lot of folks, such as myself, who think that Donald Trump's unpopularity is baked in. But here's the deal. If you believe that Donald Trump has somehow become less popular over time, let me change your mind about that. In fact, he is more popular at this point in the campaign than he was at this point in the 2020 campaign or the 2016 campaign. Look, he's still underwater, right, with a negative 9-point net favorability rating. But that is higher than he was in 2020 at minus 12 points when he nearly won. And it is way higher than the minus 27 net favorability back in 2016 when he did win. So I think there's this real question in Kamala Harris's mind, in the campaign's mind, why is Trump more popular now than he was at this point in 2020 and 2016? And I think that is why you're seeing the sharpening attacks, because they want to put him back down.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Or even, there's no way that they're necessarily going to back down to here, but they want to make Trump more unpopular than he is right now, because he's more popular now than either point in 2020.
And by the way, that might be their only messaging goal for the last 18 days is to scream Trump, 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 Trump derangement syndrome, because she's failed at everything else. She can't give interviews and talk about policy. She's done all the softball interviews she could possibly do. Where's left to go? Where is she going to go? She's done them all. She's done The View. She's done Stern. She did Call Her Daddy. She did Colbert. What's left for her to do? And those are not the voters she needs to appeal to anyways, which is what I've been saying. That's why she goes to Fox and face plants. That's not helping her. Where does she go now? She can only rally, get in front of the cameras. I've noticed now what she tries to do now is anytime she's getting on or off a plane, she'll go down there, make one statement of something. He's unstable. He's becoming more unstable, and then walk away, take no questions. That's what the strategy is going to be for them 18 days out, is just to get their surrogates, get the media, get Mika and Donnie Douche and all these people to just say what we just listened to. Try to scare people into... That's what's left. That's what's left for them to do, to try to just get back and scare people enough into, you can't put this Hitler-loving, right-wing, white nationalist, crazy guy who's going to lock us all up. Can't put him back in. That's what's left for them to do. Another commercial.
Tammy Baldwin got President Trump to sign her Made in America bill. And then she got President Biden to make it permanent.
Another another dangerous Democrat who's up for losing, Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, releasing commercials aligning themselves with Trump. Mike Lee is so right. If Kamala Harris wins, prepare for 75 years of Democratic Party rule, because that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, all right, folks, I guess that's about it right now. Those are the only things I saw. Like I said, the Polymarket article, and then the two, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, on a crash course here the last 18 days. I think that's pretty much where we're at. So let me go over I saw some of you, Farmer Brook and those in there, talking about the odds makers coming up this week. And let's just, again, I just want to remind you, let's hope we can get to it. Here's the event. Let me see if there's an updated one. Today is the 18th. Donald Trump is in a round table at Oakland County, Michigan at 5 o'clock. Now, I don't know how long that's going to go, but that starts at 5 o'clock Eastern. Then Trump to hold a rally in Detroit, Michigan. He's supposed to start talking at 7 o'clock tonight. If he's on time, and again, he's doing a round table at 5, which you figure, if he's on time, has to go at least, you would think, an hour and a half, depending on what the format of this round table is. The round tables seem to have been a little shorter than the rallies. If he starts on time at 5 o'clock, let's say he goes to 6:30, 6:15, my understanding is the Oakland County Community Roundtable is about a half an hour from where he's holding his rally. So the chances that he's on time to speak at 7 o'clock at the rally, I think would be slim and none if I had to guess right now, given the way this has gone. Which means he will not be done at 8:30. If he starts at, figure the rally speeches are about an hour and a half, an hour 20. So whatever time he starts speaking tonight at the rally, figure we've got at least an hour 20 before we're even on the air. If he starts at 7, we're not on until probably 8:30. We'll pick it up when he's done. If he's late, he starts at 7:30, we're probably not on until 9. If the round table goes late and he doesn't get to the rally and start talking till 8, we're probably not on till 9:30, which is when we're supposed to do the odds makers. So Farmer Brook and others, I think Farmer Brook's on tonight along with whoever was supposed to be on last week, and we never got to it. There is a possibility that we don't even make it to it tonight if he's late. So, yes, exactly. We know that unless his night runs extremely on time and he gets to the round table at 5, gets out of there at 6:30, drives a half an hour, and runs on stage, he's not going to be at the rally by 7 would be my guess. So if he's, let's say, 7:30, he's done at 9, we should be clear, and we can do our odds makers at 9:30. If he runs late, there's a possibility that we don't get to it again tonight, and we'll keep trying to slide. We'll pick it up at some point, but it's going to be rough. Odds makers in an election year. This was probably not the year to do this. Thinking back, but we'll make it work. We'll try to make it work. So that's the deal. So we'll see it tonight again at some point. I'll try to make sure we can get the streams going tonight, even if at 8 o'clock we're not on. I guess we'll just start it in the middle of his or whatever is on. We'll try to figure it out. So yeah, thanks for your patience with all of this. It's a little tricky sometimes, but at least we're here in the mornings with no interruptions, which is always good. So thanks everybody. 8 o'clock tonight, we'll see if President Trump has already hit the stage. If he is, then at 8 o'clock, obviously, we'll pick it up with him. If he's late and he hasn't started, we'll start with us, and then we'll throw to him when he comes on, and then we'll see what the timing looks like after that. So thanks for joining me, as always, here in the morning. I always appreciate it. All of these streams, of course, support our sponsors, Mike Lindell, MyPillow, LFS6B is the code to use. Again, big giveaway starts on November 1st. I think you'll like it. For anybody who uses our MyPillow code starting on November 1st all the way through, obviously, the end of the year, the 8 weeks of the holiday shopping season. And we appreciate when you use our code. Freedom Force Nutrition over at livefromstudio6b.com as well. We appreciate them. And, of course, I appreciate all of you joining me here every morning and every night. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you 8 o'clock tonight, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice. I'll see you then, everybody. Thanks, and play out with a little of my favorite song.
Once there was a time when
And I'll see you tonight. Have a great rest of your day.
Once around my finger was away.